Hello, hello. I'm live. Okay, we're back from the coffee break. I'm just grabbing some coffee now. And we're going to make Grand Marnier. We're going to make some Grand Marnier liqueur ice cream.
Oh, he can hear. You can hear me, right?
I haven't got everybody's attention yet, but once they taste it, they
I'm
will.
going to have some
I
coffee.
guarantee you. Quick question.
And also, Jeff, when you clean that after doing dairy, I know it's really easy when you do like water ice and stuff, but for dairy, you just put this, what's the stearine, I think it's called?
For dairy, if I'm done, if I'm still going strong during the day, then I run maybe 2 buckets of water through it. If it's chocolate or cherry or something, I'll run 3 buckets till it runs clear.
Okay.
If it's at the end of the night, I'll run 5 buckets because it makes cleaning the machine that much easier. After I run it and it comes clear, I open the machine and the dasher is just a rinse product.
Yep.
I'm stupid. I didn't know that in the beginning. And after I would make my last product, which is usually chocolate, I opened the machine and it was a nightmare to clean. It took me hours and I got all messy, and I'm not very smart. And then just about 6 months ago, I said, well, let me flush it. And now it comes out sparkling clean. It's 5 minutes to clean the machine.
So all you do is dump the cleansing liquid in there and then just wipe it up?
Water.
Yeah.
That's my cleansing liquid, water.
No, I thought there was something that...
Well, in the morning, before you start, you want to sterilize the machine because it's been sitting overnight. So you take a little of, what do you, Sterashine? Sterashine.
It's a chlorine-based product.
Right. Some people even use Clorox.
A cap full of Clorox to a gallon of water.
Right.
And
the machine's off. You get a little thing of Clorox.
That's all.
yes.
A cap full of Clorox in 3 gallons of water. And you let it run 30 seconds or so. And then the good thing is what he told me to do, after it drains, you save that. I was always throwing it away. You save it for your spatulas, and I even put the parts of the machine in it and let them sterilize. And that, I thought, wow, the ice cream is going to taste like Clorox. But in 3 minutes it dissipates, and it's fine. And then your machine is perfect.
Okay. Hot or cold water?
Cold.
You start with cold and then you go to hot. No other machine on the market can you use hot water. And so you're all day, all night washing out the machine.
Hey.
Oh, sorry. I got the last. I took the last of the coffee. You can use, one of the questions that came up, and Ken gave me a list of questions, did we ever think of putting a water hose on the machine? Yes, of course we did. But it's basically a waste of time and money cost. You've got the Cappigiani machines and all the other Italian machines with a little hose right here. And they say, isn't that great? It snakes around and can go right here. Well, 2 problems with that. Number 1, it's only cold water. And cold water and ice cream is like spreading butter on your floor. All you're doing is just smearing it around. And it only goes to here. Well, what if I spilled over here? Or what if I spilled over here? The hose doesn't go there. So my cylinders are 6 times thicker than anyone else in the industry. Everyone else builds spaghetti pots. I don't have one to show you. But when you stamp stainless steel, it has to be very thin in order to form it into a spaghetti pot. So we use real thin stainless steel, bring down a huge press, and boom, we've got a freezing cylinder. That's not the way we do it. We take plate stainless steel, 6 times thicker, and we take a big bending machine out back and we roll it like this, and then we heliarc it down the seam, put on the back plate, heliarc weld that, and we make a freezing cylinder that will never ever wear out. In 107 years of Emery Thompson, we've never worn through a freezing cylinder. It doesn't happen. And that means that you can put hot water into the machine. Now I had to caveat that because I've been into some restaurants where the water is so hot it's practically live steam. So I tell people, if you can put your hand into that water and without pulling back in pain, it's fine for the machine. In restaurants, some of them just scalding hot water. But it's the hot water that's going to cut through. So instead of adding, and everything that goes on this machine has got to be National Sanitation Foundation and Underwriter Laboratory approved. So that raises the cost of everything that goes on a machine. So that simple little hose is going to cost about $250. And it's only cold water. For a lot less than that, I could have on the wall a hot and cold water hose reel, grab it over here, spray down the whole machine, spray down the sides. If I had all the money in the world, like when I built this building, I pitched my floor to central drains. Now, you may not be able to do that, but that's a real luxury. You change with life. When I was raising 4 children, I would have given anything for a kitchen that had pitched drains and a hose reel, because I could have sprayed down all the kids and it would all go down the drain and that would be it. You know? Now I'd like to have a Rolls Royce, but back then you can have the Rolls Royce. I wanted to hose those kids down. So if you had all the money in the world and you could just hose everything down there to a pitch drain, would be great. Notice that my drain, you may not be able to see this on TV, my drain is off to the side. If I put it right here in front of the machine, well, then I'm standing on a pitch all day long, and that's uncomfortable to your legs. So put it off to the side with a gentle pitch and everything goes down there. That's if you're building from the ground up. But otherwise, a hose reel on the floor, on the wall, hot and cold, really makes it nice. On that sanitizing, you sanitize the machine at the beginning of the day. Let's say we're not going to make ice cream again for 3 days. And health inspectors are kind of fluky, and you have to do whatever they say. My father, when he was running the business, used to say, either give him 50 bucks or shoot him, and it's up to you. But you can't get away with that now. Bullets cost too much. So you have to work with them. And I've had health inspectors that say, at the end of the day, I want you to sanitize the machine. Well, why? I'm not going to run it again until Friday, 3 days from now, and it's going to build up bacteria between now and then. But he's a health inspector. I'll do whatever he says. I keep the Sterashine, and I use Sterashine because it has nice, simple instructions. It's a chlorine-based product. You use this, add this amount of water, and it's everything according to what the health department wants. In a pinch, I could use a cap, not a cup, a cap full of bleach.
Not vanilla.
Not vanilla. To a gallon of water. Just a cap full to a gallon of water. And the health inspector goes, ugh, you're putting chlorine in your machine. And when I was younger and stupid, I used to say, well, what do you think I'm putting in my swimming pool? You know, but that didn't go over well then. It doesn't go over well now. So you can use the cap full of chlorine bleach. I don't have it here, but there's a product called citric acid, which people use in Italian ice. I don't, because it's just a cheap way of making the product tart. But citric acid looks just like chlorine bleach. I mean, you can't tell them apart. They're clear. They come in gallon jugs. And my biggest nightmare, if I was running a business, is waking up at 2 in the morning and go, oh my gosh, did I put citric acid in the lemon ice or Clorox bleach? So the solution is, anytime you're using any chemicals, you finish using them and you grab them and you walk out of the ice cream room and you put them into a locked cabinet out here, so I don't have to worry about, did I put the Clorox in instead of the citric acid?
It does say Clorox on the container.
Yeah, I know they do, but sometimes you get stupid. No chemicals in the ice cream room. No glass in the ice cream room. Everything plastic or paper. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know that if you've got a wine glass and you drop it in your dining room, you'll find shards of glass in the living room and the kitchen. It just like it explodes. If this was made out of Pyrex and I dropped it, I know it would break into 2 pieces and I could put it back together. But if I did that, I am so cautious that even though the lid was down on this, if I broke glass right here, whatever I'm making over here, I would dump it. I would just get rid of it all. I'd clean the floor. I'd start over, because I can't risk getting a shard of glass into my product. So the easy, simple solution is no glass in the ice cream room whatsoever. Everything plastic. No chemicals, no glass. Sanitize on a regular basis and you'll be good to go. Now
not only plastic. When I opened my store, I went and bought plastic pitchers, spatulas, plastic spatulas. The health guy came through and he wrote me up on all this stuff. There has to be a certain kind of plastic pitcher. Of course, they're $25 a pitcher, where I spend $1.50 a pitcher, so they had to go. The spatulas have to be a certain kind of spatula. You see what he's got? Those are NSF spatulas. And he also wrote me up the next time because the spatulas were like this in the container, so I knew which one I wanted. But no, they have to be like this so you don't touch the spatula part. So they're a little funny like that, but they do it for a reason, and their paycheck.
Ken?
If you're making your product at home, for example, with a CB350, do you have to involve the health department?
Oh, gee, they could hear your question? Yeah, that's a difficult one on all sorts of levels. I live in a gated community, and if I was going to set up a business in my home, they would have an absolute fit. So that's your first problem, is how's the town council going to feel about it? Anytime you're setting up a business, yes, you have to involve the health department. And they're there to help you and to protect you. Because, you know, the way to get rich in America nowadays seems to be by suing someone. And we don't want it to be you. So I would work with the health department. The health department, I badmouth them a lot, but we need them. It's usually some guy in his early 20s driving a Ford with no chrome on it and a book of rules and regulations that would choke a horse. Sadie wouldn't be allowed in an ice cream room, but we're not going to stop her.
Well, you can't even have a cat in your house.
Really?
No.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing.
Can't have a cat in your house.
The book of instructions, because he's got a boss, and so he's trying to protect himself from the boss. The instructions say dairy tile walls, dairy tile floors, you know, all these expensive things. You write it all down. You start a diary. Let's call the health inspector Phil. You start writing down everything Phil says, and he's got all these expensive ways of setting up the business. Well, you then call up someone like me or Malcolm Stogo or Jeff and say, you know, this guy wants a dairy tile floor. It's $1 million a square inch. What am I going to do? Well, I've seen your store. It's got a concrete floor. You could do a 2-stage epoxy. Down here in Florida, we're really big on painting our garages exotic colors, the floors. You could do a 2-stage epoxy, which seals the concrete off, and it's as good as any floor you could ever put down. And it's going to cost you $40. So you go back to Phil and you say, I know you want a dairy tile floor, you know, $1 gazillion a square inch. How about a 2-stage epoxy floor? Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. And so you got his approval on August 15th. You got Phil's approval, you write it down. So then in September, when his boss comes to do the final inspection and says, hey, what's with this floor? Oh, Phil approved it on August 15th. Well, he's not going to go against his own employee, so it's perfectly fine. So you're working with them, but you're also whittling away at the most expensive costs and saying, is there a more economical way of doing this? But you do want to work with them. Another question, then we'll go on to making a product. Do you need a hardening cabinet for Italian ice? No, you don't. The hardening cabinet, or it's got 3 names: hardening cabinet, blast freezer, flash freezer. It all means the same thing. It's a cabinet that goes to 30 or 40 below 0 Fahrenheit, and it just doesn't go down to that temperature. It goes down and maintains it. We're taking those tubs of ice cream, which came out of the machine relatively warm, putting them into the freezer, 1 batch, 2 batches, 15 batches, 20 batches. And we're asking that cabinet to not only go to 30 below, but maintain 30 below while we throw all this product into it. So it's a specialty cabinet. Masterbuilt and Globe are the 2 big manufacturers, and Turnkey Parlor, TURNKEYPARLOR.com is your cheapest source for those. Neil Williams is the president. These cabinets go to 30 below, and what happens is you put the ice cream in there, it becomes hard as a rock. I'll show you. You couldn't scoop this stuff with a hammer and chisel. Here's some ice cream that I made, and that was made a few weeks ago. It helps the flavor come out. Also, at this cold temperature, it'll stay for months and months. Paul and I had some ice cream last night. We're so glad the course is today because we're out of ice cream. We had Oreo coffee ice cream, Oreo coffee banana ice cream last night for dessert. It was awful. And it was another one of my failed formulas, and we couldn't give it away, so we were eating it. But I made it 6 months ago. And it was as good as the day, it was just as bad as the day I made it 6 months ago. But hard as a rock, you can't hurt that stuff, and it'll protect it forever. But you don't need that for ices. Just take it down to 0 and it's fine. No hardening cabinet needed for ices. Yeah, Ken?
Speaking of turnkey parlors, somebody on the 7th hole at Pebble Beach wanted to say hello. So.
Oh, is he out playing golf again?
Yes, he is.
Neil Williams is a great guy, and he works very hard, and he's got a satellite dish on top of his golf cart so he can take your calls. But no, seriousness aside, one thing about his business, I sell direct, so you're saving the middleman, you're making dramatic savings. Everybody else sells through dealers. I don't sell through dealers because the machinery is too specialized. I can't count on a dealer providing you with all the information you need to make a successful business. But everything else you buy will go through a dealer. That's just the way they work. So what I'm looking for to buy a Masterbuilt or a Globe hardening cabinet or a dipping cabinet or a push cart is the least expensive paper pusher that I can find, because they're literally just taking the order, taking your money and passing it through to the factory. And they make a marginal profit for doing that. And Neil is extremely honest. I've been working with him now for a large number of years, and I've never heard a single customer complaint. He delivers the product. It's the prices are good, and little things. You know, one dealer says, "Oh, but we're going to include installation." Well, your dipping cabinet comes and the installers come to install it. They take off the cardboard box and they plug it into the wall. I think I could have done that and, you know, saved a few $100s on installation. So that's why I use Neil Williams. I'm sure there's other people out there, but he's been very honest and straightforward with my customers, and he's very busy, so when you call him, you say, "Steve Thompson sent me," and he'll get right to you. But let's make some more product before we get around to lunch, because we did offer you free lunch. We're going to make an illegal ice cream. That's what I'm telling, because Gary up in Chelmsford, Mass. Gary's Ice Cream. If you're ever up in Chelmsford, Mass., has been around for 140 years, and Gary has 2,000 years of personal experience making ice cream, according to Gary. And he really is a good guy. He's got a fantastic product in Chelmsford, Mass. And he pointed out that my recipe is put up on the website. It's just so illegal, it's beyond belief. But I thought you might get a kick out of it after my failed frozen yogurt. We're going to make Grand Marnier liqueur ice cream. Grand Marnier is a very expensive French liqueur that has an orange flavor to it. And it just makes a great dessert, wonderful thing to give out at Christmas time for presents. Instead of giving out ties, you give a half gallon of this Grand Marnier, and it's a lot of fun. So I figured just before lunch, we could all indulge in a little bit of this. So it's going to call for the ice cream blend, some vanilla, the Grand Marnier liqueur, and the zest from 3 oranges, which I haven't zested yet.
Oh, let me do that for you.
So let me get over here and get the mix. While I'm over here, I'm looking at something. There is a magazine that we all subscribe to, and an organization. The magazine is called National Dipper Magazine. The editor-in-chief is a wonderful lady named Linda Utterback. That's Utterback. Linda also runs our organization called NICRA. There's a lot to write down, but it's all at the website. NICRA is an acronym, stands for National Ice Cream Retailers Association. And NICRA is a whole group of us in the frozen dessert business, owners like Jeff, suppliers like me, and we get together once a year somewhere in the country for a convention. And the most common question I get is, can I have a name of someone in Glasgow, Ireland, or Detroit that I can go see and talk to about your machines? And unfortunately, my answer is no, because we have over 35,774 machines running right now in the world. Not one of those persons wants to let you into their store to see their secrets. Jeff is different. Jeff is so confident of his business. He isn't going to give you his formulas, but he will show you his wonderful business. But most people are just incredibly secretive, and they don't want to let you in. But when they get to this convention, which will be the day after Election Day this year in Greensboro, North Carolina, and you can go to nicra.org to find out about it. It's only going to be about 300 people there. 200 will be people who are already in business, 100 will be newbies like yourselves who are either in the business or just going into it. And I don't know, maybe it's the drinks with the umbrellas in them, but the people will spill their guts. They'll tell you whose vanilla they use, you know, where they get their strawberries, how they got their containers for so inexpensive. Anything you want to know, they'll tell you. Because
And it's fun. You can eat your guts out there. There's all different foods to eat. It's great.
Yeah, and all of us suppliers will be there. I'll be there, and so will other people making, you know, imitation batch freezers and all sorts of good stuff. So you'd really have a good time. And it's not expensive. I think I'm not sure of the price, maybe around $300. But it's the best thing you could do besides this course, because you'll get so much information out of it.
What's the organization called?
NICRA, N-I-C-R-A, National Ice Cream Retailers Association. NICRA.org.
What's in your mixture?
This is a blend that I buy from the dairy: milk, cream, sugar, and skim milk.
If I were going to make that on my own,
Oh, geez.
If you want to make this on your own,
I don't think we get that anywhere.
Oh, yeah, you can get it
again,
anywhere.
tell me which country you're from.
Dominican Republic.
In the Dominican Republic, you can probably make it on your own. You would buy milk and cream and sugar, and the ingredient you wouldn't know to put in: skim milk. Skim milk is heavy cream with all the fat removed, so it still has all the good stuff in it that makes up cream, but without the fat. So it's a great product, and it builds up what we call in the dairy industry the solids, the level of stuff that's in the dairy. You can't take just milk and turn it into ice cream. It doesn't have enough stuff.
Now, interestingly enough, the person who delivers my ice cream mix is going to the Dominican Republic to start his business, and he said he will be getting his mix from a place called the Ice Cream Club in Boynton Beach, Florida.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I guess they will deliver it there. It's the Ice Cream Club, Boynton Beach, Florida.
Yeah, I'll think of his name in a minute.
Yeah, me too. Heather and Rick.
Yes.
Rich.
Right. Rich Draper. Rich,
Right.
D-R-A-P-E-R. Rich
Right.
Draper and his wife Heather. Nice people, great people, and a very good company serving South Florida and
Great
the Caribbean.
company.